It's getting kinda hard to hold you when you don't hold me. It's getting kinda hard to love you when you don't love me. And I've seen that look that's in your eye. I've felt that, should've heard that sigh. Do I stick around, or do I say goodbye? It's getting kinda hard to want you when you don't want me. It's getting kinda hard to leave you when you don't leave me. It's getting kinda hard to touch you when you don't touch me. It's getting kinda hard to love you when you don't love me. And I've seen you self-destruct from all the lies, the pills, the drugs. Am I not enough? It's getting kinda hard to need you, kinda hard to please you. It's getting kinda hard to love you when you don't love me. It's getting kinda hard to kiss you, kinda hard to miss you. It's getting kinda hard to love you when you don't love me. It's getting kinda hard to love you when you don't love me. It's getting kinda hard to leave.
Woo!
Thank you very much.
I love that song. Love it. Tom, you was actually a guest on my programme. Has my microphone changed? I don't know.
I'm just adjusting your levels.
Just in my levels. It's important that I hear myself as well as see myself. So, Tom, you were a guest on my programme 2 years ago now.
Is it as long as that?
Can you believe that?
Yeah, time just flies.
No, yes. So we talked a lot about your journey last time, and I think it is important for the listeners to know a little bit about your journey, and then we'll go on to talking about the alcohol spectrum.
Okay. What do you want to know?
A bit about your background. Why is alcohol spectrum important to you?
I think the easiest way for me when I first meet people, Narelle, is addiction is. So alcohol for me is one thing, but addiction has always been in my life. Mm-hmm. My father was a drug addict. So one of my earliest memories is 6 years of age, my dad going into a rehab centre. We then lost my father due to an alcohol poison, and then I descended into 20 years of alcohol abuse. Mm-hmm. My brother had a drug addiction. My sister had a prescription drug addiction. Mm-hmm. So addiction is something that's always been in my family, always been in my life. It's been an overriding. It's almost been like something that's haunted me for my entire journey. Up until recently, we lost my brother in 2020 and my sister in 2022, both to drug overdoses, and it's something I'm really passionate about. That there were needless deaths.
Yeah.
So for me, my journey with alcoholism is my journey. It was a horrendous 20 years, but the recovery is far more important than the journey of addiction. Getting to a point of 2007 saying, right, I'd had enough. Finally getting myself on track, doing amazing things in the first few years of a recovery. So started to run, started to do marathons, the Marathon des Sables in 2010. Then decided to run across the United States of America in 2013 from San Francisco to New York, which was called Run for Sobriety. Sober 10, which was 10 marathons in 10 days to celebrate 10 years of sobriety. And I wrote a book, It's Not About the Beard. So sobriety gave me so much. And then it all collapsed for a while, especially after Adrian died and Sinead. My whole life just completely collapsed around me. And I think people seem to think that because you're in recovery, everything's smooth.
No, yeah.
And it definitely isn't that way. So for me, the whole journey has been, it's been phenomenally powerful to have been around addiction my entire life. I meet some phenomenal people, especially in recovery. But my personal journey has been one of almost two halves of recovery. First half was great. Second half hasn't been so good. But I'm now moving into a new phase. I turned 50 last September.
Wow.
I know you can't believe it, Narelle, you know.
Nobody's that old, Tom.
50 in September. And my life has taken a new direction in, I've done a lot of therapy over the last 18 months, 2 years. And for the first time in a long time, probably 5 years, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So the journey of recovery and the journey of addiction is something it's continuous evolution. You never finish. We can never sit by and go, yeah, we're done.
Because one thing that you taught me, because we've known each other for a number of years, haven't we now, Tom?
Yeah.
And it's not one fits all in regards to recovery. It's whatever. There's a phrase that always resonates with me with you, and it's whatever lands with you.
Yeah.
So it could be 12 steps. It could be whatever it is. 12 steps might not be for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
Liam will back me up on this because Liam's had his own story. But there isn't one size fits all. You know what I mean? There isn't I think for me, it's like baking a cake, recovery. You have to choose the parts that fit for you, what lands for you. We are unique beings. Every one of us is unique. Every one of us has experienced things differently. So I always use this analogy. When people are listening to this radio show, you may get, let's pull Narelle up here. You might get hundreds of thousands of listeners. All right? I'm sure there's more, Narelle.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands. But you will get 100,000 people listening to the same show, taking 100,000 different things away from it.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%.
And that's the same with addiction and recovery.
Yeah.
We've experienced life so differently. Even though we often hear, oh, they grew up in the same household or they had the same parents. No, they didn't. They didn't have the same parents because they experienced them differently.
Yeah.
So for me, the recovery part is so unique, and I'm blessed that my journey has now got me back to happiness. I'm blessed to have a beautiful family. I'm blessed to be in long-term sobriety, and I just want to make sure that other people, hear that people are in recovery,
Yeah.
and B, if they're struggling, that they reach out and enter recovery.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that are get me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, and it's right what you say. It's not just alcohol; it's anything. You've got to do what is right for you, And I know that I've shared my story of weight loss. I still get people asking me today, "What do you eat?" And I say, "It doesn't matter what I eat. It won't work for you." Yeah. What exercise do you do, Narelle? Again, it won't work for you. You've got to find your own path. And you're right. It's a work in progress. People actually think that I've got a perfect life. Far from it. I'm constantly working on myself, constantly, doing meditation, havening, going to events and things. You're a work in progress, and you always will be. You never get to that place.
Never.
So what I wanted to talk to you about today, because you've come up with this brilliant idea of the alcohol spectrum, because I think it is important that people are aware of alcohol harm and abuse, because there'll be people out there listening to that and definitely will say, I ain't got a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, so 7th of May is Harm Reduction Day.
Right.
Which is a great timing for us, Harm Reduction Day. But the alcohol spectrum came from a belief that there's people out there who think because they don't drink to harmful levels, they think they're safe. Because they're not alcohol dependent, they think their life is safe.
Yeah.
And evidence has shown us that that's not the case. So an example of that would be my father. My father never drunk in his life. I never remember my father having a drink in his hand. My dad, that was a drug addict.
Yeah.
That was his thing. But I don't ever recall him having a drink. And the one time he did have a drink, he choked to death.
Yeah.
So that alcohol harm. So one thing that we had, and I think me and Richard had a show with Martin Kilgallen, we talked about the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
And the autism spectrum, I love the autism spectrum because it gives you, and the fact that we use that word spectrum, because it allows you to go, right, okay, this is not just a fixed point of where you're at. It is in autism, you're fixed on a spectrum. The alcohol spectrum is different because you can float between.
Yeah.
In autism, it's very different. That was made clear to me by an autism expert. It is a fixed point on that spectrum. For alcohol, you can move from being a non-drinker and have a death in the family. You could have a divorce. You could lose your job. And you could pick up a drink because it's normal. It's just what we do. Pick up a pint of beer or a glass of wine and use that to solve your problems. And quite quickly you can find yourself, you'll jump from being a non-drinker, you'll skip out the social drinking part, and you could end up as a heavy drinker and alcohol dependent. But the opposite applies as well. You can be a heavy drinker and then decide, you know what, I've had enough of this, go and get some help and be a non-drinker. So the spectrum, it covers all bases, but the most important one for me is the social drinker. Now the social drinker is where the industry would want you to sit.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the sweet spot. This is where you're having your glass of Baileys after your dinner with your friends, and it's all, everyone's happy, and that's the dream that we're sold, and it's a wonderful dream. And I know that some people will listen and say, I'm a social drinker, I'm fine, and I get that, and that's okay. But there are lots of people who think they're social drinkers,
and they're not,
and they've either tipped into dependent drinking, or they're close to tipping into dependent drinking. So all I wanted to do with the alcohol spectrum was to highlight that to people. Say, look, just have a look at it. So 14 units a week is what we want to be looking at, which is about 6 or 7 glasses of wine.
And that's for anybody.
For anyone.
Because it used to be gender set.
It did, yeah.
But now it's not, is it?
And,
no.
and I'll just clarify that as well. That's if you choose to drink. So the health authorities would say there is no safe limit.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they put that as a little caveat.
Yeah.
So if you choose to drink 14 units a week is where you'd want to be, not in one sitting, over at least a few days of break in between.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people will quite quickly go over 6 glasses of wine a week, and still think they're in a social drinking setting. Now the impact of that can be cancers, as we now know that there's 6 different types of cancers associated now directly with alcohol. Domestic abuse, domestic violence, spiking when you're out on a night out. All these things, all these harmful things are applicable to you, even though you're classed in this lovely bubble as being a social drinker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to get that message out to people. I'm trying to get that message out to people that have a look at yourself. Have a look at where you're at with your drinking. Have a look at, are you being social? So I'll just give you an example. I thought I was a social drinker. Yeah. And because everyone around me was drinking the same as me.
Yeah.
But I thought I was a social drinker, and I was drinking 16 pints of Guinness a day and half a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
But I thought I was a social drinker. So look at the people around you. Look at who you're, how it's affecting your life. Is it affecting your family? Is it affecting your finance? Is it affecting your health? Are you getting to a stage where you're waking up in the morning, you're feeling a little bit groggy, you're not firing all cylinders? Is it affecting, how you approach your day? Are you planning your day around getting to the pub later on in the evening? Maybe on the alcohol spectrum, you've moved from one section to another without even knowing it. And I think that's really important that we try and get that message out to people, but also people who are non-drinkers, understanding that just because you're a non-drinker doesn't mean you're free from harm. So that, if you're a non-drinker and you're going out for a glass of Coke, you can still experience violence on a night out. You can still potentially get spiked on a night out. You can still, you could be a concerned other. You could have a partner who's got an alcohol dependency, and you could end up with domestic abuse or domestic violence. So you're not immune just because you're a non-drinker. And I know a lot of people who think they are.
Yeah. I think that's very interesting what you say about the spectrum, because I think a lot of, because ADHD and autism and things like that are in the media. people are aware of that spectrum, so they can actually know what you're talking about. And it can, fluctuate. It could be 0 or it could be 100. Where are you? And that could change on a weekly to monthly basis. As you know, Tom, this summer is 10 years without a drink of alcohol.
Fantastic.
And it's very, you'll find this, and you probably both find this, it's very interesting when I say I don't drink, and people go, oh no, neither do I. Just me 2 beers on a Friday and Saturday. Well, you drink then.
Yeah.
And it's very, I love being different, and I love telling people that I don't drink, because their facial expressions tell me about their alcohol journey. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's about bringing awareness. And as you say, and I can't remember when the healthcare changed the limits but 14 units is not a lot. Now, I was back in the day a typical binge drinker, so I wouldn't drink during the week, but my word, I would hammer it on a Friday and Saturday night. But then when I became more mature, I would drink every night, maybe a glass or 2 glasses every single night, get home from work, crack out the bottle of wine, and I'd drink, and then on a weekend I'd drink a bit more. And, if somebody asked me there, have I got a problem? I'd say, no, I ain't got a problem. But the thing is, I could not come home from work and not have a drink. So it doesn't matter if it's a glass of wine every night or a bottle of wine every night. It's a habit, and I have to have it.
Yeah, and it's often the case, and we're finding more and more women who are in that situation.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary on the BBC about liver disease a few months ago, and they made an interesting point that women have been followed by the alcohol industry since the 90s. So the 90s, things changed, the rave culture came in, and the alcohol companies realised that men and women were going out equal amounts of time.
Right.
They were going to clubs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we had this thing called the alco pop.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so alco pops came out, and alco pop.
We're
So
all
everyone of our age group has that same reaction.
I don't know what you mean, Tom. I'm much younger than you.
Blastaways,
Yes,
Diamond
Castaway,
White.
Blastaways.
Yeah.
And all
Diamond
that
White
sort
and
of stuff.
Castaway, yeah.
So all that sort of stuff. But I mean, the reaction that I can see from you, Narelle, and Richard when his eyes lit up, alco pops. But alco pops were
lemonade.
alco pops were designed to get women to drink more.
Oh, yeah.
So they were designed for women to drink, because men traditionally drank bitters and lagers and Guinness, and women didn't traditionally drink that stuff. And especially for the younger women that were going out, the 19, 20-year-olds, they were standing with a pint of Guinness in their hand, or a pint of bitter. They wanted something else. So the alcohol industry, and they're clever at this, they brought in the alcohol pops. Now, if you follow that trend of those women as they went through their time, it became then the Prosecco clock.
Yeah.
So those same women
Yeah.
were followed by the alcohol industry, and now women in their 40s and 50s, it's Prosecco o'clock, it's wine o'clock. And we're now seeing a trend in liver disease of those women from the 90s, because they were targeted.
Yeah.
And even though it was social drinking, let's be right, that's what it was targeted as, social drinking, we're now seeing that's had an impact in women's health. And it's something that's not talked about. It's something, breast cancer, if you go on the breast cancer awareness charity websites, they will quite clearly link alcohol to an increase in breast cancer. But it's very rare that's ever spoken about. And it's about us trying to get that message across to women and men that social drinking is okay if you stay within the guidelines, but it's very hard to stay within the guidelines because it is such a small amount in British culture. British culture, 6 pints of lager a week. And I hate saying this, but in my old days, I wouldn't put a clean shirt on for 6 pints. You know what I mean? And that was the old saying. I'm not going out unless we're going out for a gallon. And a gallon was 8 pints.
I don't drink a lot at all, even though we own a bar. But if I go out and have a drink, I'm having a drink. And I think listening to and I've tried to educate myself a lot with alcoholism and stuff. That's probably worse when you've gone from not drinking for a couple of months and then having 8 or 9 pints, 'cause I drink Guinness, and getting leathered.
It hammers the body, hammers the cells of the body, and causes you no end of grief.
Yeah.
But and people always say to me, "Yeah, but Tom, we have to have a good time. You're only here for a short period of time." I agree with that. Nobody's killing the party, but we've got to accept that if you look at the NHS, if you look at the amount of people who are struggling with this, it isn't just 1 or 2 people now that are struggling. If you just do alcohol last 2023, there was about 10,000 deaths in the UK from alcohol abuse. 10,000. If you add in the drug deaths as well, you're about 15 or 16,000 people. And now that's, so if you think about from when my father died from alcohol abuse 37 years ago last week, that's 370,000 people from alcohol abuse. If you want to just do simple basic maths. So that's 370,000 people dead from alcohol, this product that you can buy in your shop at 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been in a local shop here this morning, walked in to buy a can of pop, and I was greeted with the alcohol fridge. Yeah. I said, where's the pop fridge? Oh, it's round the back. Yeah. I says, well, why is the alcohol fridge front and centre?
That's marketing ploy, isn't it?
So even at 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, I'm walking into a shop to buy a can of Coke, and I'm faced with bottles of Magners, cans of lager.
But it's all it's like the 3 litre bottles of cider, the Frosty Jacks or whatever it is, and they're about £4 for a. Yeah. It's ridiculous how cheap it is.
And it's never seen an apple. And that Frosty Jack cider's never seen an apple. Yeah. It's never been anywhere near an apple. Yeah. It's it's chemicals. It's just chemicals. Yeah. If you can produce 4 litres of that stuff, that hasn't been anywhere near a Granny Smith. Yeah. I mean, it's been nowhere near an apple. And it is killing people. Frosty Jacks is particularly, and there are other cheap ciders available if anyone's going to have a go at me for mentioning Frosty Jacks. But they're doing massive amounts of harm. My brother definitely suffered greatly from drinking the cheap ciders.
It's so readily available, and it's like this. What's that horrible stuff? Ondra Bloom, is it? In a black can. It's about
Orange Bloom.
Yeah. It's about 7 or 8, 9%.
Oh wow!
And it's horrible, but it's cheap.
Yeah. It's cheap.
And for somebody who is an alcoholic, instead of getting Carling, which is like, pardon my French, pish, but they'll just get a couple of cans of that because it does what it needs to do, and it's just so cheap.
So Liam, so what's your perspective on the alcohol spectrum? Because obviously it's Tom's design, but what do you think about it?
Yeah, because my own background is prescription medication abuse.
Right.
Alcohol, it's easy for me to say it was never a problem for me, but listening to Tom and learning more about this spectrum, it's always been harmful to certain degrees. Binge drinking on a weekend, for example. Yeah. I used to say I only drink on a weekend, but there's no only really there, is there? It's I drink on a weekend. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a strong believer in people being more aware and making informed choices about their drinking habits. Mm-hmm. I know we just talked about that high strength alcohol, but that is a product specifically designed for someone that is seeking high strength alcohol. So, the more work we can do like this, and the more work that Tom does, will be really helpful for a lot of people. Yeah,
that's brilliant, and that ties nicely to the second song, which is Bitter Pill. Better Pill.
Before you start, Liam, do you just want to move your chair around because we can't see you on Facebook? Well. Even though we can hear your beautiful tones on the radio.
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to video you?
No, you're fine.
I can do it here for you to. Well, I don't know. It's up to you.
Closer to that mic.
Get a bit closer to the mic. There we go. We can see you a bit better now.
So just a bit of background for the first song. That's not that I don't love my wife, my now wife. It was written from her perspective of watching me in active addiction. So if you listen back to it and listen to the words, this one, Bitter Pill, is a story of my own addiction. So close to home. So here we go. Well, I know that I'm the one to blame, 'cause I couldn't bear to stand the pain. I took the pills and lost the game. Now every single day's the same. Oh no, here we go. Oh, how I wish that things could just be better. But why's this pill I swallow tea so bitter? And on my days, the days just drift away. And how today just feels like yesterday. And I'm afraid that this could be my life. No job, no hope, no kids, no wife, no light. So I'm sat here in this pharmacy, on show for all the world to see. And I'm pretty sure that they all know that I can't leave, that I can't go until it's gone. Or did it go so wrong? Oh, how I wish that I could just get better. But why's this pill I swallow tea so bitter? And on my days, the days just drift away. And how today just feels like yesterday. And I'm afraid that this could be my life. No job, no hope, no kids, no wife, no light. So 3 months down in rehab done, there's hope again where once was none. And even though I've had no sleep, my body aches, head's on repeat. I see it's where I need to be. And now I know that things can just be better. And I want her to know that I'm not bitter. And on my days, the days are here to stay. And how today is bright, no tears, no grey. And suddenly the clouds roll and it's clear. For you and me, this year could be our year.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Lovely, excellent. So let's go back to the alcohol spectrum, because I think it's about educating people first of how much they're drinking, what they can do to change. It's like, I mean, I was sent the autism spectrum and I did it, and I think I scored, I don't know, I was really quite low down on the score. So is there something that people can do to calculate their own score, or is alcohol spectrum just about raising awareness?
It's more about raising awareness. There's no. I'm not a very technical person.
No, I'm not either.
So for me, it's about you recognising where you sit.
Yes.
Because again, everybody's different.
Yes.
So your social setting will guide you on this one.
Yeah.
Is it having an impact on your finances? Is it not having an impact on your family and on your health?
Yeah.
And those are the three things I always say to people when they come to me and talk to me about alcohol and drugs as well. Because just to go back here, the reason I wanted to do this was Harm reduction is something that's really something that a lot of people misunderstand. So things like needle exchanges, sharp spins, making sure people have safe access to safe drugs if they are going to use them. People are going to do things.
Yeah.
They're going to use mind-altering substances to try and alleviate whatever pain they're in. And we have to find a way of being able to assist people to do it safely.
Yes.
As safely as possible. So again, I'll reiterate, I'm not saying to anyone to stop drinking at all.
Because that can, especially if you're a heavy drinker and you stop, then that actually can cause horrific things.
100%. I mean, it's one of the things that alcohol withdrawal can kill you.
Yeah.
It can kill you. And it's something we would never recommend. I would never recommend anyone to stop. But it's not even the ones who are alcohol dependent. I don't want anyone to think that we're being killjoys. We're trying to kill people's buzzers. We want to make sure that people are doing things safely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether you're drinking alcohol, smoking crack, taking heroin, whatever your drug of choice is, I would like to make sure that we're all in a position to do it safely.
Yeah.
Far be it from me to judge how people are living their lives. I went to a harm reduction conference over in Liverpool very early on in the role that I'm in now. And there was a young woman who was a sex worker. And she asked a question that just completely stopped me in my tracks. She says, what do I need in my room to keep me safe when I've got a client with me? And the whole room, there's 500 people in this conference, everybody started to give an opinion, right, of what would keep that woman safe. None of us were sex workers. None of us know what keeps you safe. But yet we think it's okay for us to try and offer you advice. Yeah. So sometimes we have to listen to the people who are actually doing the stuff.
Yeah.
So that we need to listen to the people who are using the drugs. We need to listen to the people who are drinking the alcohol and try and come up with ways to make that safer. The answer, if you want the answer, is a mirror. So she can see if she's going to get strangled. Yeah, and that's I know that's not maybe appropriate for half 10.
No, but
half 10 on a Saturday morning, but everybody's there in their head going, well, what would make a sex worker safe? It's not down to us to come up with those answers. It's down to listening to what the people who are using the substances and finding out how their lives are unfolding. How can we make it safer? So needle exchanges for me are one of the safe usage rooms which were launched in Scotland recently, where you can go and use heroin or whatever drug you want to use in a safe environment where people can watch and make sure if you overdose, you can have access to naloxone. Now, this has caused real controversy. It's taken us nearly 10 years to get these rooms opened. And for me, listening to what's happening in America, it's saving lives, hundreds of lives. In the places in New York, saving lives. Now, it's a very hard concept to get your head around. But harm reduction is one of the things for me, and that's why the alcohol spectrum came in, is that we have to approach this from a different angle. We have to offer solutions to people who are in pain until they're ready to either stop using or reduce their usage or decide that they don't want to engage at all. But whatever way, we have to try and help them. We can't judge somebody who uses heroin or smokes crack or drinks alcohol. We can't judge, but we can make them safe. And I think that's where the alcohol spectrum for me came from, is that we have this thing of going in and trying to teach people about heavy drinking. But let's make the social drinkers safe.
Yeah.
Let's make the non-drinkers safe. Let's help everyone. Let's engage everybody in the conversation. Because if you go into an alcohol workshop at work and you don't drink, you're going to switch off straight away. Certainly where we live, the South Asian population, they quite quickly will close off because they don't drink. Well, they're not supposed to drink. I know that the stats show that they do, but they're not supposed to. So they tend to switch off. So we need to engage those people into a conversation that allows them to think about harm reduction. Also, what it'll do with the alcohol spectrum, it opens up the conversation about harm reduction in the fact that, you can't look down your nose on somebody who's using heroin or crack or any other illicit substance until you know that individual, until you know where they've come from. Now, there's two people here in this room who have gone to hell and back. And, Liam's I've had the privilege of hearing Liam's story. And it's until you understand the background, until you sit down and listen to the stories, we aren't here to judge people. And Liam's story is phenomenal, of how the guy you see sitting there now, from where he was. I'm blessed to have Liam in my life. Blessed to have him in my life. I'm blessed that you guys are blessed to have him here.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Because from where he was,
I'm very grateful.
From where he was to where he is now, and his beautiful family that he's got, and the lifestyle and the care that he gives people on a day-to-day basis, because he understands where those people were or are.
Yeah, because you get lots of people who get very judgmental, and you see people outside the shop. You go in and can you spare any loose change? And I've tried to educate my daughter. I mean, our family's very well rehearsed, as you know, Tom, in regards to addiction and trying to understand it. It's very difficult to understand if you're not in that.
Yes. But
people have a judgment, and they'll see this person outside, and all they see is an addict. Yeah. I don't wish to offend anybody, the smackhead, whatever they want to call it. Do you know what I mean? But I remember with the conversations we've had over the years, Tom, it's not a life choice. If you'd have seen them at primary school, do you think they would have said, actually, do you know what? I want to sit outside a shop, be addicted to whatever it might be, alcohol, drugs, whatever it might be. That's what I want to be. It's not a life choice. And it's a person behind that. There's an actual human being. And people forget that. And people need to make sure, I always say, how are you doing? I don't always give them money, but I'll buy them a sandwich. And she's 17, that little one. But she'll go herself now and buy a sandwich and a drink and give it to him out of her own money. Not any coercion from me or a mum or our family or anything like that. But people need to be try to understand it's not not a life choice.
Yeah, I think it's really important that the people are seen as human beings.
Yes.
Somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's brother,
100%.
somebody's sister, and just going back on the point of the sandwiches and the drink, and I'm sure she does this. Asking the person what they like.
Yeah.
It's so important. I saw somebody offering a guy a sandwich, and it was a ham sandwich. He went, "I'm a vegetarian," and the guy looked at him like, "Well, you don't get the right to be a vegetarian."
Yeah.
Well, he still has the right to choose. Yeah. He still has the right to be a vegetarian. If he's just because he's homeless doesn't mean he has to eat meat.
I'll tell you a quick. Sorry to interrupt. She was in Leeds, and I think she went to Greg's, and there was a guy there, and she went to get him a drink, and she misheard what he said. she gave it in and she says, "I didn't want that." and she just looked, she says, "Well, you," and she didn't know what to say to him. She said, "Well," he says, "Well, I don't want it," and she says, "Well, I don't want it." So they stood there going,
bit of a standoff.
Yeah, standoff. And she would have thought, she used to be, I couldn't bloody believe it. She's like, "I'm only trying to be nice, And he said, "Well, ask the question."
It's listening. It's asking and listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, again, harm reduction is about listening to what people are going through. If we get people, needle exchanges and things like that, and they come in and ask, and they want to know what some advice, and there's no judgment offered to people. That's where they are in the particular point in their life. We have to really. I would love to see society get to a point where we are less judgmental. So the guy in the gym, when I told him I work with drug addicts and alcoholics, and he turned around to me and said they all deserve a bullet. I would love to live in a world where those people don't exist. Those attitudes don't exist. Unfortunately, we're fighting. It's an uphill battle. So things like the alcohol spectrum, harm reduction messages, all those sorts of things are really important in changing the stigma that's still attached to alcoholics and drug addicts.
Yeah, I mean, people take drugs and they take alcohol because that's their way of coping with whatever's going on in their life. And I think all four of us, we don't know the story. Somebody could see you and go, oh, he's a gym buddy. Nobody knows your story. Nobody knows what you've been through. Nobody knows what Liam's been through. People don't know people's stories. And it's about taking time and understanding. When I come across somebody who's got an addiction, my first question is, what's caused them? What happened for them to turn to alcohol, to turn to drugs? What was it? I'm interested in that. It's the coping mechanisms. People don't know what's going to go around the corner. People don't, when things happen to me, the first thing I went to was the fridge. Do you know what I mean? People have different coping mechanisms.
100%.
And it's about knowing that story. Why did they turn to alcohol? Why did they turn to drugs? What are they coping from?
So we often admire people who throw themselves into work and become successful business people. And they work 18 hours a day and they neglect their family, but they make money. And it's seen as a badge of honor because they're successful. They've got the Porsche, they've got the business, they've got the house, but they've missed out on their children growing up. They've missed out on their relationships. They're on their third marriage, possibly. But we still see that as a success. But it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But when somebody loses themselves to alcohol or drugs, we're the lowest of the low. There's no real difference to me. If somebody's chasing money or somebody's chasing alcohol, they're both people in pain.
Yeah, 100%.
They're both people in pain. Both individuals are struggling with life. There's a sweet spot in the middle where, and I'm starting to realise this, the older I get, you realise you're happier when you need less.
Oh, yeah.
And that's less of everything. Less money, less people in your life.
Yeah.
Less busyness. Less trappings of wealth, less holidays. You don't need to go off on holiday because you don't have to escape anything. Yeah. So I think you're getting well again. I know I'm getting well again when I need less in my life.
I talk to our kids about, when you talk about relationships and I'm about investment and I'm not about monetary. And I said to the girls, because I've got 4 women in my house, as you know, Tom, I'm outnumbered.
Nightmare.
Yeah. Love them all dearly, but when they start a relationship, I always say, well, they need to invest in you. It's like, I know it sounds really, but he's taking the time to understand them and invest their time into them. Yeah. If they're not willing to do various things, and I'm not saying like shower the gifts and all that kind of stuff, but
just taking time.
Just taking time and listening to them. And it's like, I'm very fortunate. The girls, they might not be like Zoe and Lily, they're not my blood, but they're my family. And I would do absolutely anything for them. And I've got such a fantastic relationship. I mean, the stuff that I don't know that I've got in their life, but I'm very privileged that they can open up to me and talk to me. And that doesn't come overnight. That's being there and listening and investing in them.
Earn it.
Yeah, I can tell her the favourite colour. I know Zoe's favourite song. Do you know what I mean? It's investing. You've got to invest in them people.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about songs, let's go to we're ready for another one. It's nearly 10 to 11, Tom.
Can't believe it, can you? Liam hasn't been able to speak either. We've just been singing. We're just using you for your music, Liam.
I know, it's fine. Just a monkey in the corner.
Oh, fall for you.
Fall for you.
Yes. Do you want to? What's that song about?
Yeah, so it's nothing. It's
any deeper than the first two. It's just about meeting my wife,
Okay.
my now wife.
Yes.
Back in 2010 during the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who were you supporting? England.
Yeah. I mean, Ireland were there, so you know.
No comment.
Benefit of dual citizenship, isn't it? Lie, la, lie. La 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, oh. In the World Cups in South Africa, when I saw her there across the bar, I compare you to a summer's day with all the breath you took away. Beer stains down my Umbro shirt, 30 odd more years ahead. Her eyes I'd never seen the like, stars against the pale night sky. The shortest poem that I ever read. Oh, it's not Shakespeare, no, it was just a text. And it's haunting every dream going round my head. Yes, I remember every word, I know what it said. What it said, why are you making me fall for you? Said no, why are you making me fall for you? And I didn't know falling was something I could make you do. I said no, why are you making me fall for you? Surely Heskey's way too old, and I never trusted Capella. I had a glimpse of how life could be. I don't understand what she sees in me. It's coming home, I heard them say, but we just drew against the USA. Lightning and thunder, tsunami, and I think I'm going under. The shortest poem that I ever read. Oh, it's not Shakespeare, no, it was just a text. And it's haunting every dream going around my head. Yes, I remember every word, I know what it said. And what it said, why are you making me fall for you? I said, now why are you making me fall for you? And I didn't know falling was something I could make you do. I said, now why are you making me fall for you? And the best thing is that she don't recall sending anything like that at all. Yeah, I know just what it said. No, it's not just in my head. Yeah, I'll be there to catch you when you fall. Lie, la lie, la 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 lie, la la lie, la lie, la 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 lie. And Lampard shot bounced over the line. Hearts are broken when he calls for time. The car played the she's the day. No one I ever met made me feel this way. I was hers and she was mine. It's not the summer of '69. I won't forget how I felt back then when I met you in the summer of 2010. The shortest poem that I ever read. Oh, it's not Shakespeare, no, it was just a text. And it's haunting every dream going around my head. Yes, I remember every word, I know what it said. What it said, why are you making me fall for you? Said now, why are you making me fall for you? And I didn't know falling was something I could make you do. Said now, why are you making me fall for you? Fall for you. And I'm falling to fall for you. Yeah, I'm falling too.
Woo!
Fantastic.
Brilliant, brilliant, Liam.
There's Kieran Doyle's on. Thanks for listening, Kieran. He's just saying, loving the tracks, Liam. Different song styles. Good songwriter.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Kieran.
thank you, Kieran. He's a good egg, is Kieran. So we've only literally got maybe about 7 minutes, Tom, and I think I spoke to you on the phone the other day saying I could listen to you talk all day.
I could probably talk all
Yeah,
day.
yeah. But I want, if people are listening out there and people are struggling right now, what support is out there for people?
So in every town in the UK, every city in the UK, there's an individual drug and alcohol service provider.
Right,
So
okay.
if you're in Kirklees, we're in Dewsbury today. So if you're in Kirklees, you're fortunate enough to have a great organisation, Change Grow Live.
Yeah.
Change Grow Live offer a free and confidential support service. You can refer yourself via the online form. Once you refer yourself, then you will be invited in for a triage. And this is the same in most towns up and down the country,
Okay.
most cities up and down
Yeah.
the country. Drug and alcohol service providers will give you a triage and decide where you're at. And then they can make a couple of choices. You might need what we call a focus group, which is a brief intervention,
Okay.
where you maybe do a 6 or 7 week course, and you can learn some coping strategies of how life's getting on top of you.
Yeah.
Now, you may well be that you're dependent on your drug or alcohol use, and you may need clinical support. So you'll be given a support worker,
Okay.
a recovery worker, and a clinical nurse to decide what your treatment plan can be.
Right. Okay.
They can then decide whether you can do a home detox. You might need a residential detox, which takes a longer time
Yeah.
to organise. You've got to be ready for that. So you've got to do some group work. In Kirklees, we have a great organisation called Emerging Futures, who work closely with Change Grow Live, and they offer peer-to-peer support. They also offer a group setting as well. So they do various levels of group work to prepare people for recovery. And then again, Kirklees, I think you're blessed in Kirklees to have such a great recovery community, aren't they, Liam?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they have Kirklees in Recovery, who are the aftercare almost. So
Okay.
when you're in recovery, they run groups. They do Friday socials. They do gardening clubs, walking groups, art clubs. They've got all sorts of things going on. So and that's similar across the country. It's not
Okay,
always
yeah.
as definitive as that, but across the country, everyone has a public health fund it, and they have a drug and alcohol service provider. So if you're in Wakefield, it's Turning Point.
Oh,
In,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Leeds, it's Forward Leeds.
Yeah.
So there are different groups, different
Yeah.
organisations,
Yeah.
but you tend to get a similar sort of offer
Of services.
of services.
Yeah.
So they try to keep the level the
Yeah.
same. But certainly in Kirklees, I think you're blessed in this area.
And is there any support? I'm guessing the answers will be yes, but for partners or family members for people who have got somebody who's got an alcohol or a drug problem.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a group that we run, that's run in Kirklees, called COPE. So
Okay.
it's a Concerned Others programme.
All right. Okay.
So Concerned
Yeah.
Others is probably the most important part
Yes.
of recovery.
Yeah.
Because if a person's going through recovery and the family members are struggling, it can cause real problems.
Yeah.
So giving the family members support so they can understand the addiction.
Yeah.
They can understand how they can help and impact. It's massive for us. So our family team work tirelessly with Concerned Others, we refer to them as.
Right. Okay.
And also the family team as well, just
Yeah.
doing work with children as well. 2 million
Yeah,
children in the UK living with alcoholic or drug dependent
Yeah.
parents.
Wow.
2 million children are going home every night not knowing what's facing them when
Yeah.
they go through the door.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
organisations are trying to work with the children as well. So it's really important that it's a holistic, a whole family approach.
Yes. Yeah.
That we try and offer as many services as we can
Yeah.
throughout the UK.
And also, I mean, that just it's an interesting point, isn't it? And I think we've talked about this before, and I know for definite. So when I was going out, and you probably might be the same, Liam, when I was going out partying, getting drunk and things like that, those people are not actually in my life right now. And that was a conscious decision. I didn't want to be going out on a Saturday night, drinking like that, or even going out on a Saturday night clubbing. We're not drinking. So I made the choice to move away from those people. I mean, you're nodding, Liam. What's your thoughts about
not
that?
just personally, I think with anyone in recovery, you have to take a deep look at your circle of friends.
Yeah.
Friends in inverted commas,
Yes. Yeah.
Your associates, the people that you hang around with. There's a saying, stick with the winners, isn't there? So kind of aim for what you want to be and surround yourself with those people.
Yeah.
So it kind of crosses over to recovery as well.
Yeah. Is that your
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need less things in your life, and that's people as well as everything else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just want to say a big thank you to Tom for coming in here on Saturday morning to talk about the alcohol spectrum. As I said, when you phoned me up, I just loved the idea, and and I think people need to be aware of that and educated in that. And Liam, for the fantastic music.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for, I picked this guy up this morning. He was wandering the streets with his guitar. And I said, "Are you Liam?" I said, "Jump in my car."
He does that all the time.
Yeah.
So just a
So
ploy.
does
Yeah.
Narelle.
But, yeah. But the songs have truly been amazing. I did listen to that Kinda because I think Tom shared that.
It's
maybe
on Spotify as
It's
well,
on
by the way.
Spotify. And other songs on
Yeah, so
Spotify.
Bitter Pills on Spotify. I still
Yes.
need to record the last one I wrote for.
Right.
So it'll be
Okay. So go and check this out, and support Liam, support local bands, support unsigned artists. That's what Smile is all about. And it's just been a pleasure talking
for
to you
having us,
guys.
yeah. Thank you.
much, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
So, quickly in the last 30 seconds,
Yeah.
how can they get hold of you then, Narelle?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Quick.
Oh, it's all about me, isn't it?
100%.
So you can email me at hello@narellesummers.co.uk. Yeah, I do one-to-one sessions. They're all via Zoom in NLP, havening, goal mapping. I'm also a speaker as well. So, feel free to drop me an email and let's get talking. And let's start spreading the love.
Right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Tom. Always a pleasure, mate. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. And don't forget, give us 3 rings when you get in. Take care.